Hello students, welcome to my class. Today I am going to start with chapter number 1, solid state. So chapter number 1, solid state, today is the first class. So at first we should know what is solid. So we know that matter has 3 states: solid state, liquid state and gaseous state. So liquid state and gaseous state already studied in HS first year. So in this second year, your first chapter is solid state. So what is solid? Our first topic is what is solid. So a solid is defined as that form of matter which possesses rigidity, and hence possesses a definite shape and a definite volume. So now the question is, why solids possess rigidity? Why solids are rigid? The answer is, in a solid, the constituent particles are very closely packed. So in a solid, say this is one solid substance. In this solid substance, the constituent particles, now these constituent particles either may be atom or ion or any molecule. So we know that the atom is a very small in size and a small size particle is spherical in shape. So these are the constituent particles in an atom. These are the constituent particles of the solid. So this may be either atom or ion or molecule. So in a solid, the constituent particles are very closely packed. Hence, the forces of attraction among these constituent particles are very strong. The forces of attraction among these constituent particles are very strong. Moreover, these constituent particles have fixed positions. They are fixed. They cannot oscillate right side or left side. They can only oscillate about their main positions. They oscillate only their main position like this. They cannot oscillate like this. They can only oscillate about their main positions. That's why solids are rigid. Now, what are the characteristics of solid? So, characteristics of solid. Characteristics of solids. The first characteristics is number 1, first point, they possess rigidity. First point, they possess rigidity. Second point, they have definite shape and definite volume. Third point, number 3, they have high density, because the force of attraction among the constituent particles are very strong. That's why they have high density. Number 4, they have no fluidity. Liquid has flowing capacity, but solids, due to strong force of attraction, they have no fluidity. Number 5, they have slow diffusibility. They diffuse in a very slow rate. They diffuse in a very slow rate. So they have slow diffusibility. So these are some characteristics of solid. They possess rigidity. They possess a definite shape and a definite volume. They have high density. They have no fluidity. They have slow diffusibility. तो हो गया characteristics of solid. Next, what are the classification of solid? Classification of solid. Classification of solid substances. So solid substances are classified into two types. So there are two types of solid substances. Number one, crystalline solid, and number two, amorphous solid. So there are two types of solids, crystalline solids and amorphous solids. Now what are crystalline solids? So a solid is said to be crystalline if its various constituent particles are arranged in a definite geometrical pattern in the three-dimensional space, so that there is a short range as well as long range order of its constituent particles. That means, you see, so these are the constituent particles. So these constituent particles are arranged in a definite geometrical pattern. So these particles are arranged in a definite geometrical pattern in the three-dimensional space. So arrangement of these particles follows the regular geometrical pattern. So this is a long range order of its constituent particles. Say in the solid, the constituent particles arranged like this. So what is crystalline solid? A solid is said to be crystalline if its various constituent particles are arranged in a definite geometrical pattern. See the pattern like this, then it goes towards this direction and then this. Similarly, this, like this. So all these particles are arranged in a definite geometrical pattern in three-dimensional space. So there is long range as well as short range order of its constituent particles. So if the constituent particles are arranged like this, then crystalline solids are formed. So a solid is said to be crystalline if its various constituent particles are arranged in a definite geometrical pattern in the three-dimensional space, so that there is long range as well as short range order of its constituent particles. Similarly, what is amorphous solids? So a solid is said to be amorphous if its various constituent particles are not arranged in a regular manner in the three-dimensional space, or there may be at the most a small or a short range order only. For example, see, say the constituent particles are arranged like this direction. The arrangement of the constituent particle is like this. So is there any definite geometrical pattern? No. The constituent particles are not arranged in a definite manner. So what is amorphous solid? So a solid is said to be amorphous if there is no regular arrangement of its constituent particles, or there may be at the most a small or a short range order only. So there may be at the most short range order of its constituent particles. amorphous solid का example like glass, pitch, तार, rubber, plastic, polymer, etc. तो amorphous solid and crystalline solid में difference क्या है? What are the difference between crystalline solid and amorphous solid? So the main difference of crystalline and amorphous solids are crystalline solids and amorphous solid. So difference between crystalline and amorphous solid. First, number one. So by the definition, you can write one difference. तो crystalline solid का definition था. In this type of solid, the constituent particles are arranged in a regular manner in the three-dimensional space containing long range as well as short range order. In this type of solid, the constituent particles are not arranged in a regular manner. There may be at the most a short range order only. So this is the first distinguishable feature. Number two, crystalline solids have sharp melting point. So they have sharp melting point. They do not have sharp melting point. Crystalline solids have sharp melting point. Amorphous solid do not have sharp melting point. Number three, they have high heat of fusion. Crystalline solids have high heat of fusion. They do not have high heat of fusion. Number four, they are anisotropic. Crystalline solids are anisotropic, whereas amorphous solids are isotropic. तो anisotropic और isotropic इसका मीनिंग क्या है? तो isotropic means the physical properties like melting point, boiling point, density, viscosity in all directions should be same. And anisotropic means the physical properties from all directions are different. So crystalline solids are anisotropic in nature, whereas amorphous solids are isotropic in nature. Number 5, they undergo a clean cut. For example, see, so since the constituent particles are arranged in a regular manner, so if you cut here, you will get a sharp edge. But since amorphous solid do not have any regular arrangement, they undergo an irregular cut. यहाँ पे कट करने से see some of the atoms cutted here. So amorphous solids undergo an irregular cut. They have a clean cut, whereas amorphous solid undergoes an irregular cut. Number 6, crystalline solids are true solids, whereas amorphous solids are pseudosolids or supercooled liquids. They are true solids. Amorphous solids are pseudosolids or supercooled liquids. So now one question may ask in your exam, why glass considered as supercooled liquid, or why amorphous solids are supercooled liquid? So glass is one example of amorphous solid. So glass has the tendency to flow like liquid, although the flowing tendency is very slow. You can give one example also. Say, if you see the glass panes of a very old building, glass panes of the windows and doors of a very old building, you can see that the bottom part of the glass panes are slightly thicker than the top portion of the glass. This is only because of the tendency of flow of the glass particles through the glass panes. So this indicates that glass has some flowing tendency, and that's why glass is considered as supercooled liquid, and glass is one example of amorphous solid. So sometimes it is also called amorphous solids or supercooled liquid. तो हो गया difference between amorphous solid and crystalline solid. Now classification of crystalline solids. So crystalline solids are classified into 4 types depending upon the nature of the bonding force among the constituent particles. So based on the nature of binding force amongst the constituent particles, crystalline solids are classified into 4 types. So what are the 4 types? Number 1, ionic solid. Number 2, molecular solid. Molecular solids. Number 3, covalent solid. And number 4, metallic solids. So there are 4 types of crystalline solids depending upon the nature of binding forces amongst the constituent particles. So now one by one. So at first, what is ionic solid, or what do you mean by ionic solid? So in this type of crystalline solids, because these are types of crystalline solids, so in this type of crystalline solids, the constituent particles are positive and negative charged ions. These constituent particles, these are positive and negatively charged ions. For example, one example is say Na positive and Cl negative ions in NaCl crystal. तो सोडियम क्लोराइड स्ट्रक्चर में Na पॉजिटिव आयन होता है, Cl नेगेटिव आयन होता है. तो these positive and negative charged ions are the constituent particles of ionic solids. These ions held together in the crystal by strong Coulombic force or electrostatic force of attraction. So we can say that in ionic solid, the constituent particles are positive and negative charged ions. The force which holds these ions together within the crystal is electrostatic force of attraction or Coulombic force of attraction. So what are the characteristics of ionic solids? So since electrostatic force of attraction is a strong force of attraction, so they have high melting and boiling points. So ionic solids have high melting and boiling point. First characteristics. Number 2, they are hard and brittle. ये बहुत hard होता है and brittle. Ionic solids are hard and brittle. Number 3, ionic solids can conduct electricity only in aqueous solution, because in aqueous solution, or you can say in the molten state, जब मेल्ट होता है तो ionic solids can conduct electricity in aqueous solution or in the molten state, because the ions becomes free. molten होने से क्या होता है, Na positive Cl negative, these ions becomes free, but in solid state due to strong force of attraction they are held together. So ions are not free to move in solid state. That's why in solid state ionic solid cannot conduct electricity. They act as insulator. But in aqueous solution or molten state they can conduct electricity. So this kind of question may ask, ionic solids can conduct electricity only in aqueous solution but not in solid state. Explain. Ionic solids in the solid state act as insulator because the ions are not free to move. But in aqueous solution or in the molten state they can conduct electricity because ions are free to move. Ions become free to move. That's why they can conduct electricity in the aqueous solution or molten state. They have high heat of fusions. So these are some characteristics of ionic solids. Next, molecular solids. Second type is molecular solids. तो ionic solid में उन लोगों को क्या क्या मिला? The constituent particles are positive and negative ions. The constituent particles are positive and negative ions. The force, कौन सा force है? Electrostatic force. Electrostatic और Coulombic. Electrostatic or Coulombic force of attraction is there. They are hard and brittle. Ionic solids are hard and brittle. So there are some characteristics of ionic solids are they have high melting and melting point and boiling point. They act as conductor in aqueous solution. But insulator in solid state. So examples of ionic solids, say NaCl, KCl, magnesium chloride, etc. Next is molecular solids. So in this type of crystalline solids, the constituent particles are molecules. Constituent particles are molecules. And nature of the molecules also. So based on the nature of the molecules, molecular solids are classified into three types. So number 1 or number A, one is non-polar molecular solids. Non-polar molecular solids. number B, polar molecular solids, and number C, hydrogen bonded molecular solids. Hydrogen bonded molecular solids. So now, what is non-polar molecular solid? Or what do you mean by non-polar molecular solid? So in this type of solids, the constituent particles are atoms of noble gases like helium, neon, argon, etc. So in non-polar molecular solid, the constituent particles are atoms of noble gases and non-polar molecules like hydrogen, chlorine, iodine, CH4, etc. So in non-polar molecular solids, the constituent particles are molecules, and these are helium, neon, argon, atoms of noble gas, and non-polar molecules. So the force which holds these molecules or these atoms, noble gas atoms, within the structure, तो क्या force रहता है? This is a very weak London force or dispersion force. So in non-polar molecular solids, the constituent particles are either atoms of noble gases or non-polar molecules. The force which holds these molecules together within the crystal is weak London force or dispersion force. So now what are the characteristics of non-polar molecular solids? The first characteristics, so since they have a weak force of attraction, that's why they are soft. The non-polar molecular solids are soft in nature. Number two, since they are soft, their melting and boiling points are low. Melting boiling point low होता है. Number three, they are insulators. That means they cannot conduct electricity because there is no ions present. Number four, at room temperature and ordinary pressure, non-polar molecular solid exists as liquids or gases. Room temperature, but at a very lower temperature, minus temperature में they can exist as solid. So हो गया non-polar molecular solid. तो non-polar molecular solid का information क्या है? In this type of solid, what are the constituent particles? The constituent particles are either atoms of noble gases and non-polar molecules. What kind of force of attraction is there? So in non-polar molecular solid, the force of attraction is a very weak force of attraction, that is London force or dispersion force. They are soft. Non-polar molecular solids are soft. Their melting and boiling points are very low. They act as insulators. So now, what are polar molecular solids? Polar molecular solids क्या है? तो in polar molecular solids, the constituent particles are polar molecules. Polar molecules like HCl, SO2, NH3, etc. So in polar molecular solid, the constituent particles are also molecules, and these are HCl, SO2, NH3. These are polar molecules. The constituent particles are polar molecules. The force which holds these molecules together, say SO2 structure, SO2 structure में these are SO2 molecules. So these SO2 molecules are held together by dipole-dipole interaction. The force of attraction is dipole-dipole interaction. So in polar molecular solid, the constituent particles are polar molecules like HCl, SO2, NH3, etc. The force which holds these molecules together within the crystal is dipole-dipole interaction. So now what are the characteristics of polar molecular solids? So polar molecular solids are soft because they have weak force of attraction. Dipole-dipole interaction is a weak force of attraction. So since these are soft, their melting and boiling points are also low, but comparatively higher than non-polar molecular solids. They also act as insulators. That means they cannot conduct electricity. At room temperature and ordinary pressure, they exist as volatile liquid or gaseous. So polar molecular solid का भी information. In polar molecular solid, the constituent particles are polar molecules like HCl, SO2, NH3, etc. The force of attraction among the molecules within the crystal is dipole-dipole interaction. Characteristics: the polar molecular solids are soft, so their melting and boiling points are low, but comparatively higher than non-polar molecular solids. They act as insulator. Next is hydrogen bonded molecular solids. So what are hydrogen bonded molecular solids? So in this type of solids, the constituent particles are such molecules which contains hydrogen atom. These are also molecular solids. That means constituent particles are molecules. So these are that kind of molecules which contains hydrogen atoms and attached to highly electronegative atom of small size like fluorine, oxygen, nitrogen. So hydrogen atom should be attached to highly electronegative atom of small size, that is fluorine, oxygen, nitrogen gas. So we can say that in hydrogen bonded molecular solid, the constituent particles are say NH3, H2O. The hydrogen is attached with highly electronegative atom nitrogen. Hydrogen is attached with highly electronegative atom oxygen, HF, the most electronegative element, etc. So in hydrogen bonded molecular solid, the constituent particles are that molecules which contains hydrogen atom attached with the highly electronegative atom of small size. These molecules in the crystal are held together by hydrogen bonds. And hydrogen bond is a strong force of attraction. So, what are the characteristics of hydrogen bonded molecular solid? The hydrogen bonded molecular solids are soft solids. They are soft solids. Their melting and boiling points are comparatively higher than non-polar and polar molecular solids. They also act as insulators. Okay? तो हो गया molecular solids. Now our next topic is covalent solids. What are covalent solids? तो covalent solids क्या है? तो in this type of solids, the constituent particles are atoms. तो इस solid में covalent molecular solid में these constituent particles are atoms. These are atoms, and these atoms within the crystal are held together by covalent bond, and these atoms extended throughout the crystal. These atoms are extended throughout the crystal and forms a three-dimensional space, three-dimensional structure three-dimensional gigantic structure. So since in covalent solids the constituent particles are atoms and they form a three-dimensional structure by covalent bonds, so this kind of solids are directional in nature. The covalent solids are directional in nature. Some examples of covalent solids, say diamond, graphite, quartz, सिलिका, कार्बोरंडम एक्सेट्रा. तो कोवेलेंट सॉलिड में कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंट पार्टिकल्स क्या होता है? एटॉम्स. और बॉन्डिंग फोर्स क्या होता है? कोवेलेंट बॉन्ड. तो कोवेलेंट सॉलिड्स आर डायरेक्शनल इन नेचर. So since covalent bond is a strong force of attraction, that's why covalent solids are very hard. Covalent solids are very hard. So since they are very hard, their melting and boiling points are high. The melting and boiling point of covalent solids are very high. They also act as insulators. They cannot conduct electricity. There is only one exception, that is graphite. Graphite is soft and it can conduct electricity. Exception. But diamond, quartz, silica, carborundum, they are hard but they cannot conduct electricity. So in covalent solid, the constituent particles are atoms. Constituent particles are atoms. They are held together by covalent bond. Covalent bonds. They are also, I can write, very hard. These are very hard. Only exception is graphite. Graphite is soft. Their melting and boiling points are very, melting point and boiling point very high. They are also act as insulator. They are insulators. That means they cannot conduct electricity. So we have covalent solids. They are directional in nature. Next is metallic solids. So what are metallic solids? So in metallic solids, the constituent particles are positively charged metal ions. Constituent particles are positive charged metal ions and free electrons. Positive charged metal ion. The metal ion like iron, Fe dipositive और Fe tripositive. तो पॉजिटिव चार्ज मेटल आयन का सराउंडिंग्स में फ्री इलेक्ट्रॉन रहता है. मोबाइल ऑफ फ्री, सी ऑफ, बहुत सारा फ्री इलेक्ट्रॉन रहता है. तो इन मेटालिक सॉलिड द constituent particles are positively charged metal ions and free electrons. So these positively charged metal ions, say these are the constituent particles, positive charged metal ions. These positively charged metal ions are held together within the crystal by metallic bond. मेटालिक सॉलिड में कौन सा बॉन्ड होता है? मेटालिक बॉन्ड. Metallic bond. So by metallic bond, the positively charged metal ions are held together within the crystal. तो characteristics क्या है? तो in metallic solids, since metallic bond is present, so their melting and boiling points are moderately high. Moderately high. They are highly malleable and ductile. सॉलिड, उसको तुम मेलेबल मेल भी कर सकते हो और कोई भी शेप दे सकते हो। तो these are metallic solids are highly malleable and ductile. Their melting and boiling points are moderately high. Melting point and boiling point moderately high. They have high electrical as well as thermal conductivity. They are the electrical conductors or thermal conductors because electrons are present, free electrons, positively charged metal ions and free electrons. Due to presence of free electrons, they can conduct electricity as well as heat is also transformed. So metallic solids are conductors. They are electrical as well as thermal conductors. तो हो गया classification of crystalline solids. तो crystalline solids are classified into 4 types: ionic solids, molecular solids, covalent solids, and metallic solids. In ionic solids, the constituent particles are positive and negative ions. And there is electrostatic force or Coulombic force of attraction, which is a strong force of attraction. So due to strong force of attraction is there, they are hard and brittle. They have high melting point and boiling point. So ionic solids can conduct electricity only in aqueous solution or in the molten state because ions are free to move. But in solid state, they cannot conduct electricity because ions are not free. In molecular solid, the constituent particles are molecules. So based on the nature of the molecules, molecular solids are further classified into 3 types: non-polar molecular solid, polar molecular solids, and hydrogen bonded molecular solids. So in non-polar molecular solids, the constituent particles are either atoms of noble gases and non-polar molecules. The force which holds these molecules together within the structure is weak London force or dispersion force. Since London force or dispersion force is a very weak force of attraction, that's why they are soft. So since they are soft, their melting point and boiling points are very low. They are insulators. Then polar molecular solids. So in polar molecular solids, the constituent particles are polar molecules like HCl, SO2, NH3, etc. The force which holds these molecules together within the crystal is dipole-dipole interaction. So dipole-dipole interaction is also a weak force of attraction. That's why polar molecular solids are also soft. Their melting and boiling points are low but comparatively higher than non-polar molecular solids. They are also act as insulator. So at room temperature and ordinary pressure, they are found as volatile liquid or gases. In hydrogen bonded molecular solids, third type is hydrogen bonded molecular solids. Here the constituent particle or constituent molecule, the constituent particle is the molecule. So in hydrogen bonded molecular solid, the constituent particles are such molecules which contains hydrogen atom attached to the highly electronegative atom of small size like fluorine, oxygen and nitrogen. The hydrogen bonded molecular solid में constituent particles are either NH3, H2O, HF, etc. These molecules held together within the crystal by hydrogen bond. So since hydrogen bond is a strong force of attraction, that's why hydrogen bonded molecular solids are soft solids. Their melting point and boiling points are comparatively higher than non-polar and polar molecular solids. They are also act as insulator. Next is covalent solids. So in covalent solids, the constituent particles are atoms, which are held together by covalent bonds and extend towards the crystal and forms a three-dimensional network structure, three-dimensional gigantic structure. So covalent solids are directional in nature. Since covalent bond is the strong force of attraction, that's why covalent molecular solids are very hard. Their melting point and boiling point are very high. They are also act as insulators. Only exception is graphite. Graphite is soft and it can conduct electricity. It acts as conductor. In metallic solids, the constituent particles are positively charged metal ions and free electrons. Example of metallic solid, say copper metal, copper, silver, gold, platinum, palladium, aluminium, sodium, etc. So, positive charge metal ions, say copper positive, silver positive, gold positive, iron dye positive, magnesium dye positive, positive charge metal ions and free electrons. So in metallic solid, these metal atoms or ions, metal ions within the crystal are held together by metallic bond. The metallic solids are highly malleable and ductile. Their melting and boiling points are moderately high. They are high thermal and electrical conductor. They possess conductivity. They can conduct electricity as well as heat through them. So classification of crystalline solid is over. So our next topic is crystal lattice and unit cell. Crystal lattice and unit cell. Crystal lattice and unit cell. So at first, what is crystal lattice? What is crystal lattice? What is crystal lattice? So in a crystalline solid, the constituent particles are arranged in a definite geometrical pattern in the three-dimensional space. So such a regular arrangement of the constituent particles within the crystal is known as crystal lattice or space lattice. ये समझ में नहीं आया शायद. तो see, so this is the solid. Now it is in two-dimensional. X-axis, Y-axis, two-dimensional. तो three-dimensional में कैसा होगा? So now this is three-dimensional structure. See, x-axis, y-axis, and z-axis. X, Y, Z. So this is three-dimensional structure. X-axis, Y-axis, Z-axis. So here, what is crystal lattice? So in a crystalline solid, the constituent particles are arranged in a definite geometrical pattern in the three-dimensional space. The constituent particles are arranged. Constituent particles, it may be either atom, it may be ion, it may be molecule. So see, the definite geometrical pattern in the three-dimensional space. So in this three-dimensional space, say we are considering NaCl crystal. in NaCl crystal, see the different ions, say Na positive ion, here Cl negative ion, Na positive, then Cl negative, Na positive, Cl negative, then Na positive, Cl negative. So in a crystalline solid, the constituent particles are arranged in a definite geometrical pattern in the three-dimensional space. So such a regular arrangement of the constituent particles within the crystal is known as, क्या बोलते हैं इसको, is known as crystal lattice or space lattice. ठीक है, थोड़ा सा चेंज कर देता हूँ. Say here it is Na positive and it is Cl negative. So see, Na positive, Cl negative, Na positive, Cl negative, Na positive, Cl negative, Na positive, Cl negative, or Na positive, Cl negative, Na positive, Cl negative, Na positive, Cl negative, Na positive, Cl negative. So these are arranged in a definite geometrical pattern within the crystal. So this kind of arrangement of the constituent particles in the three-dimensional space is called crystal lattice. So what is crystal lattice? In a crystalline solid, the constituent particles are arranged in a definite geometrical pattern in the three-dimensional space. Such a regular arrangement of the constituent particles in the three-dimensional space of a crystal is known as crystal lattice or space lattice. Now what is lattice point? Lattice point. It is also called lattice site. What is lattice point? The positions which are, these are the positions of a three-dimensional space. The positions which are occupied by the constituent particles in the three-dimensional space of a crystal. The positions which are occupied by the constituent particles in the three-dimensional arrangement of a crystal is known as lattice points or lattice sites. For example, say in NaCl crystal, Na positive and Cl negative ions occupy the different points. Na positive ion, Cl negative ion, Na positive ion, Cl negative ion, Na positive ion, Cl negative ion. So these occupy these positions, and these positions are called lattice point or lattice sites. Okay. Now, what is unit cell? What is unit cell? So what is unit cell? The definition is the smallest three-dimensional portion, the smallest three-dimensional, this is three-dimensional part, the smallest three-dimensional portion of a complete space lattice, which when repeated over and again in different directions to produce the complete space lattice is called unit cell. तो ये definition से directly समझ में नहीं आएगा. Say this is the complete space lattice, a complete structure. So this one is one solid, complete solid. Now a solid is made up of a large number of constituent particles. See, so there is one three-dimensional space. This is one three-dimensional space. So here NaCl crystal is present. Say. So this whole solid, this is the complete space lattice, complete crystal lattice. And this complete crystal lattice is made up of a large number of three-dimensional space. So this is one three-dimensional space. So with respect to this, we can draw another three-dimensional space like next, with respect to this, we can draw here another like this. With respect to this, this. With respect to this, so this is one now, and this is another. So this is the another space lattice. With respect to this, you can draw here like this. With respect to this, so like this, a complete space lattice is formed. A complete space lattice formation of that. So here you see this one and this one. This is one three-dimensional space. This three-dimensional space, ये बहुत सारा मिलके ये पूरा कंप्लीट हो जाएगा. तो what is unit cell? The smallest three-dimensional space. The smallest three-dimensional space of a complete space lattice. The smallest three-dimensional space of a complete space lattice, which, when repeated over and again in different directions to produce the complete space lattice, is called unit cell. The smallest three-dimensional space is this. So this smallest three-dimensional space, which, when repeated over and again in different directions, because it is three-dimensional, so it is in different direction, produces the complete space lattice. So this three-dimensional space repeated over and again and produces the complete space lattice. So this smallest three-dimensional portion is called unit cell. Next is types of unit cell. What are the types of unit cell? Types of unit cell. So what are the types? How many types of unit cells are there? So unit cell, depending upon 6 parameters. So what are the 6 parameters? So if we draw here one unit cell, so this is x-axis, say this is y-axis, this is z-axis, so three-dimensional space. So depending upon the 6 parameters, that is axial length, say is axis ka length, say small a, so this is small b, and this is small c. Axial length a, b, c, 3 parameters, and axial angles. So axial angles, so here you can see this is alpha angle, this angle is beta, and this angle is gamma. So these are the 3 angles. So depending on these 6 parameters, that is axial lengths a, b and c, and axial angles alpha, beta and gamma. So depending upon these 6 parameters, unit cells are classified into 7 types. So there are 7 types of unit cell. So 7 types of unit cell. If we make a diagram, so unit cell. unit cell, then axial length, axial angle, you can write some examples also. There are 7 types of unit cell. Number 1, cubic unit cell. Number 2, tetragonal unit cell. Number 3, orthorhombic. It is also called rhombic. Number 4, monoclinic. Number 5, triclinic. Number 6, rhombohedral. Or it is also called trigonal. And the number 7, hexagonal. So there are 7 types of unit cell: cubic unit cell, tetragonal unit cell, orthorhombic, monoclinic, triclinic, rhombohedral and hexagonal unit cell. Now see, in cubic unit cell, axial length, for cubic unit cell, axial length A equals to B equals to C. That means all these lengths are equal, and the axial angles, alpha angle, beta angle, gamma angle, all angles are 90 degree. In tetragonal unit cell, A and B equal, but C is not equal. Alpha, beta, gamma all are 90 degree angle. In orthorhombic or rhombic unit cell, A, B, C all are different, and alpha, beta, gamma again 90 degree. First 3 examples are also given. You can see this. In monoclinic unit cell, A, B, C, ये जो तीनों का जो लेंथ है, all the lengths are different. अल्फा, बीटा, गामा, यहाँ पे अल्फा एंड गामा 90 डिग्री, अल्फा एंगल एंड गामा एंगल्स आर 90 डिग्री, बट बीटा इज नॉट 90 डिग्री in monoclinic unit cell. In triclinic unit cell, the length of A, B, C are different, and the angles alpha is not equal to beta, is not equal to gamma, and they are not equal to 90 degree also. So in triclinic unit cell, all the lengths are different, all the angles are different, and these are different from 90 degree also. In rhombohedral unit cell or trigonal unit cell, here again, just like cubic unit cell, A, B, C all are same. The length of A, B, C equal. Alpha, beta and gamma, these are also equal, but they are not 90 degree. Here it is 90 degree, but in rhombohedral unit cell, the angles are not 90 degree. All the angles are equal. And in hexagonal unit cell, the length of A and B are same, but length of C is different. Whereas angles, alpha angle, this is alpha angle, this is beta angle, this alpha and beta angles are 90 degree. Whereas this gamma angle is 120 degree. So some of the examples are given also here. You can check this. So there are total 7 types of unit cell: cubic unit cell, tetragonal unit cell, orthorhombic, monoclinic, triclinic, rhombohedral and hexagonal unit cell. So in your syllabus, you have to study only cubic unit cell. So now see, cubic unit cell is classified into three types. Cubic unit cell classified into three types: simple cubic, body centered cubic, and face centered cubic. Tetragonal unit cell is classified into two types: simple and body centered. Orthorhombic, it is four types: simple, body centered, face centered, and end centered. Monoclinic unit cell, two types: simple and body centered. Triclinic, only one type, that is simple. Triclinic, only simple. Rhombohedral, it is also only simple. Hexagonal unit cell, it is again only simple unit cell. So cubic unit cell three types, tetragonal two types, orthorhombic four types, monoclinic two types, triclinic one type, rhombohedral one type, and hexagonal one type. So how many total types are there? 3 plus 2 5 plus 4 9 10 11 12 13 14. So in crystal lattice there are 14 types of unit cell corresponding to the 7 crystal systems. So corresponding to these 7 crystal systems, there are altogether 14 types of unit cell, and these 14 types of unit cells are collectively called Bravais lattices. So what is Bravais lattices? So in crystalline solids there are 14 types of unit cells corresponding to the 7 crystal systems, which are collectively called Bravais lattices. Clear? So now you have to study cubic unit cell. So now start with cubic unit cell. The cubic unit cell is the most simplest and most symmetrical unit cell amongst the 7 types of crystal systems. The cubic system is the most symmetrical and simplest system. It is classified into 3 types. So cubic unit cells are classified into 3 types. 3 types क्या क्या है? So one is simple cubic unit cell. Second one is body centered cubic unit cell. Body centered cubic unit cell, and third one is face centered cubic unit cell. The face centered cubic unit cell is also called cubic close packing. Okay, so one by one. So what is simple cubic unit cell? So what is simple cubic unit cell? So this is one unit cell in 3-dimensional space. We can draw like this. So in this type of unit cell, there are 8 atoms at the 8 corners of the cube. So in this 8 corner of the cube, there are 8 atoms present. A cube has 8 corners. So in this 8 corner, there are 8 atoms present. So simple cubic unit cell में क्या होता है? So in this type of unit cell, there are 8 atoms at the 8 corners of the cube. Each corner atom is shared equally with 8 adjacent unit cells. तो ये डायग्राम से दिखा सकता हूँ. यहाँ पे तो 2-dimensional स्पेस है, नहीं दिखा सकता हूँ. तो simple cubic unit cell में 8 corner contains 8 atoms, and each atom is shared equally with 8 adjacent unit cell. तो इन बॉडी सेंटर्ड क्यूबिक यूनिट सेल, बॉडी सेंटर्ड में कैसा होता है सर, दिस इज द बॉडी सेंटर्ड क्यूबिक यूनिट सेल। तो इन body centered cubic unit cell there are again 8 atoms at the 8 corners of the cube. The 8 corners of the cube contains 8 atoms and one additional atom is present at the center of the body. तो body का center में there is one atom present. So in body centered cubic unit cell there are 8 atoms at the 8 corners of the cube and one additional atom is present at the center of the body. And in face centered cubic unit cell there are again 8 atoms at the 8 corners of the cube. So 8 corner contains 8 atoms. So 8 corner contains 8 atoms. And 6 additional atoms are present at the center of each faces. तो एक क्यूब में 6 फेस होता है, तो अपर फेस का सेंटर ऑफ द फेस देयर इज 1 atom. Lower face, the center of the face there is 1 atom. Left side face, the center of the face there is 1 atom. Right hand side face, center of the face there is 1 atom. Front face, so this is the front face, the center of the face there is 1 atom. Back face, this is the back face, the center of the face there is 1 atom in back face. So this is the diagram of face centered cubic unit cell. So in a face centered cubic unit cell there are 8 atoms at the 8 corners of the cube and 6 additional atoms at the center of 6 faces. तो orthorhombic unit cell में मैंने बोला था there is another type of unit cell that is end centered unit cell. तो orthorhombic 4 types है, simple, body centered, face centered and end centered. End centered में क्या होता है, in end centered unit cell there are, say this is one unit cell, so in end centered unit cell 8 atoms are present at the 8 corners of the cube, not cube, 8 corners of the unit cell. So 8 corners of the unit cell contains 8 atoms and 2 additional atoms, only 2 additional atoms are present at the center of any opposite faces. Say if you take upper face center, then 1 atom should be opposite face, lower face. If you put 1 atom there, then next atom should be here. तो any 2 opposite faces में 2 atom रहता है for end centered cubic unit, end centered unit cell. For end centered unit cell. Okay, clear? तो cubic unit cell is 3 types: simple cubic, body centered cubic and face centered cubic. So in simple cubic unit cell there are 8 atoms at the 8 corners of the cube. In body centered cubic unit cell there is again 8 atoms at the 8 corners of the cube and 1 additional atom at the center of the body. In face centered cubic unit cell there are 8 atoms at the 8 corners of the cube and 6 additional atoms are present at the center of 6 phases. Next topic is calculation of number of atoms present per unit cell of cubic unit cell. So now topic is calculation of number of atoms. नंबर ऑफ एटम्स भी बोल सकते हैं, नंबर ऑफ पार्टिकल्स भी बोल सकते हैं. तो कैलकुलेशन ऑफ नंबर ऑफ एटम्स प्रेजेंट पर यूनिट सेल. ऑफ क्यूबिक क्रिस्टल per unit cell of cubic crystal. So calculation of number of atoms or particles present per unit cell of cubic crystal. So we know that in a cubic crystal there are three types of cubes: simple cube, body centered cube, and face centered cube. So at first, number one, simple cube. Simple cubic crystal, or you can write simple cubic unit cell. So we know that in a simple cubic unit cell there are 8 atoms at the 8 corners of the cube. So it contains 8 atoms at the 8 corners of the cube. 8 atoms at the 8 corners of the cube. Each corner atom contributes 1/8 of an atom. देखो एक कंप्लीट स्पेस दैट इसमें क्या होता है, इफ दिस इज अ कंप्लीट स्पेस दैट इज, so there is one cube, this is one cube, तो 8 atoms occupy 8 corners of the cube. तो कंप्लीट स्पेस दैट इज में यहाँ पे और भी एक space that is a, so this is another space that is, see, so this atom now occupy single atom occupy 2 space that is 2 cube, 2 क्यूब को एक ही एटम ने ऑक्युपाई करके रखा. सिमिलरली यहाँ पे और भी एक हो सकता है. तो ना 3 क्यूब को एक ही एटम ने ऑक्युपाई करके रखा. नेक्स्ट यहाँ पे भी एक हो सकता है. अभी 4 एटम को एक ही, 4 क्यूब को एक ही एटम ने ऑक्युपाई करके रखा है. तो ये 2 डायमेंशनल में दिखाई ऐसे दे रहा है. तो 3 डायमेंशनल में क्या है, तो पीछे से भी है, ऊपर से भी है, आगे से भी है, नीचे से भी है. तो एक एटम, वन एटम can hold 8 adjacent unit cell, 8 adjacent point of 8 different unit cell. यहाँ पे मैंने एक ही एटम से 4 को दिखा दिया 2 डायमेंशनल में. तो 3 डायमेंशनल में एक वन एटम can attach to 8 adjacent unit cells or 8 adjacent point of 8 unit cells. That's why one atom contributes 1/8 of an atom. एक एटम 1/8 हो गया. So therefore, number of atoms or number of atom or particle present per unit cell equals to, so simple cubic unit cell contains 8 atoms at the 8 corner of the cube. and each corner atom contributes 1/8 of an atom. So 8 into 1/8 equals to 1 atom. 8 cancel 1 atom. So simple cubic unit cell contains 1 atom. Number 2, body centered cubic unit cell or body centered cubic crystal. So a body centered cubic unit cell contains, so it contains 8 atoms at the 8 corners and 1 additional atom at the center of the cube. It contains 8 atoms at the 8 corners and 1 additional atom at the center of the cube. So each corner atom contributes 1/8 of an atom. So each corner atom contributes 1/8 of an atom. So therefore, number of atoms present per unit cell equals to, so 8 corner contains 8 atoms and each corner atom contributes 1/8 of an atom plus 1 additional atom present at the center of the body. So 8 into 1/8, 8 cancel 1. So 1 plus 1, 2 atoms. 2 atoms. तो हो गया. Number 3, face centered cubic crystal. The face centered cubic crystal contains 8 atoms at the 8 corners of the cube and 6 atoms at the center of 6 faces. So a face centered cubic unit cell contains 8 atoms at the 8 corners of the cube and 6 atoms at the center of 6 faces. So each corner atom contributes 1/8 of an atom. Each face atom contributes half of an atom. हाफ कैसे से यहाँ पे क्यूब, so this is one cube, तो this is one of the face atom. अभी इसके ऊपर और एक क्यूब आ जाने से इसके ऊपर और एक क्यूब आ गया, तो और एक क्यूब इसके ऊपर आ जाने से जो इसका जो फेस, एक क्यूब का एक फेस का सेंटर में एक एटम, इसके ऊपर और एक क्यूब आ जाने से एक ही एटम दोनों क्यूब को ऑक्युपाई करके रख सकता है, पकड़ के रख सकता है. जैसे एक साइड में इस क्यूब के इस साइड में एक एटम है और एक क्यूब यहाँ पे आ जाने से दोनों को लगा देने से क्या होगा, एक ही एटम, वन एटम कैन होल्ड टू क्यूब्स टुगेदर. सो ईच फेज एटम, वन ऑफ द फेज एटम कंट्रीब्यूट्स हाफ ऑफ एन एटम. एक फेज एटम दो क्यूब को अटैच करके रख सकता है. तो देयरफॉर नंबर ऑफ एटम्स present per unit cell equals to, so in face centered there are 8 atoms at the 8 corners and each corner contributes 1 by 8. Again 6 atoms at the center of 6 faces and each face is shared equally half of an atom. So this is 1 plus 3, 1 plus 3 is 4 atoms. 4 atoms. So simple cubic unit cell, how many atoms are present per unit cell? 1 atom. In a body centered cubic unit cell, body centered cubic unit cell is so small. In short, BCC बोलते हैं, body centered cubic. So body centered cubic unit cell contains 2 atoms. In face centered cubic crystal, the face centered cubic unit cell, the face centered cubic FCC, face centered cubic unit cell, this is also called cubic close packing or CCP, cubic close packing. This is a short form. FCC, face centered cubic or cubic close packing. Body centered cubic BCC. Simple ऐसे ही रहता है, simple cubic. So simple cubic is also termed as primitive unit cell. It is also termed as primitive unit cell. So simple cubic contains 1 atom per unit cell. Body centered cubic unit cell contains 2 atoms per unit cell. And face centered cubic or cubic close packing contains 4 atoms per unit cell. So you should remember this. Okay? So this is end of today's class. Thank you.